Welcome to the Julien Wyant Memorial Foundation Voices of Victims. I'm your host, Tanya Wyant.
And I'm your co-host, Catrice Brinson. Thank you for tuning in.
We're going to tell you a little bit about the foundation and how the foundation got started, and then we'll go into explaining what the Voices of Victims is about. The Julien Wyant Memorial Foundation was founded out of the death of my son, Julien Wyant. He was murdered on July 4th of 2016. It was a senseless crime of a senseless murder. Julien was a aspiring professional boxer. He boxed for most of his childhood and up into his young adult life. But he was a great kid. He loved helping other people. He loved giving back. He was always working with the children in the gym. He would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was dedicated to his craft, and he trained well. So through all of the things that Julien did in his life, I wanted to make sure that I carried his name on, that I gave him a legacy, thus became the foundation, the Julien Wyant Memorial Foundation. With the foundation, what we do is we help other family members that are involved in the same type of situation that I was, with having to have a funeral service, needing clothes and not being able to afford all of those things, because nobody plans for a death. You don't put money away to bury one of your children. That's just not something that you do. So I would like to be able to help people that have to go through that. If they need resources, if they have to pay for a memorial marker, if they need a church home, if they need money to feed their family, you're able to apply for services through the foundation, and we offer that help. But we also help with things like biohazard cleaning. Depending on where the murder happened, a lot of times you're responsible for getting that mess cleaned up. And so we'll refer you to companies that will help you with those things, as well as several other services.
I know that's difficult, So to be able to offer that and to provide those services, that alone is awesome, because I don't know of a lot of companies that have it, or at least express those resources or how to deal with it. So, being a part of this and knowing that's priceless information. So thank y'all again for tuning in, and know that the value in what the foundation is offering is something that's very limited, and that every day it's a needed resource. Every day someone is losing a loved one to some type of violence or some type of crime, and don't know where to start, what to do, or anything like that. So the foundation and those resources is very important. And if you all provide any of that and y'all want to contact us, please do.
So from that formed the Voices of Victims. A lot of times a family member is killed and lost, and the mother or the girlfriend or the wife is left to mourn, and we mourn for years, and the mourning does not stop. The healing, you don't get to a point of healing for a long time. The healing is the hardest part, and when you're dealing with that, you have all sorts of feelings, all sorts of emotions. You play that murder out in your head every day. I know I do. And so a lot of times you feel like that you don't have anybody to talk to, like your family has turned their back on you, or in my case, I lost a lot of friends. I was very heavily involved in my church, and I feel like a lot of the members that I dealt with on a daily basis, I don't talk to them anymore. They don't call me anymore. So I have internalized a lot of the feelings that I have, and I know there are other people out there that have dealt with death that are doing the same thing. Ultimately, what it is doing is giving your victim a voice, because once something like a murder happens to your loved one, they can't talk about it. They can't do anything about it. It's over for them. And you talking about it and you letting the world know what's happened to your loved one, as well as looking for some sense of healing for yourself, because I find that the more I talk about it, the more I find someone that will listen, and I genuinely feel like that person is really listening, the better I feel. It doesn't bring complete healing, but it definitely does make me feel a little bit better. It gives me some sense of release. So that's what we would like to do with the Voices of Victim, is just allow that surviving family member to give their loved one a voice by telling their story, telling what happened. And in some cases, the murder isn't solved. I was lucky in that I was able to get the shooter, and he's been convicted. But in some cases, you have families that never see a day in court, and those families are the ones that are harboring all of those feelings and find it harder to get to healing. So that's what the Voices of Victims is about.
I think it's awesome. I think it's gonna give that needed energy to be able to have someone helping you push through. Right? It's the push through part. It's the balancing out the day to day and going through your struggles. And then not feeling like you're dealing with it alone.
Right.
Even though no one else is really in your position or see it the way that you do, I know that it's difficult. So tell me, what was some of your most difficult moment? Was it after everything settled, or was it going through the initial process?
It was actually both. Going through the process when you've never been through or had this type of experience is the worst, because you have to, especially, and if you have children, that's another one of the things that you have to carry. You have to internalize your feelings in order to be able to allow your children to have some sense of release. And you have to hide what your emotions are because you don't want to set them off. So that was one of the burdens that I had, is that I had to cry in the shower, or I had to cry in the car, or I had to just not cry. And then sometimes I cried and it just didn't matter who was around. But you worry about what your kids are going through. So that was the hardest part for me, was worrying. I have 3 other children, and just worrying, well, oh my God, what are they feeling? Is she thinking about it right now, my minor child? Is she thinking about it? What's on her mind? Is she okay? Going and checking on her in the middle of the night. Is she asleep, or is she in there crying? You know, and just knowing your children and knowing that they're going through something. My baby boy, I think he completely internalized it, because he was the closest to Julien of all the siblings. Not the closest, but each one of them had their own relationship with him based on the activities or the time that they spend and different things like that. So of course the older boys will have a different relationship, and he wouldn't allow me into his feelings. He just kept them to himself, and as I try to talk to them about it, you know, it's a barrier. Right. He put that wall up. I got it, Mom, I'm okay. And I know it's not okay. My oldest boy, he eats everything. He does not share what he feels. He doesn't. The whole entire time we were going through it, he did not, we didn't see his emotions, because he was so worried about everybody else and what everybody else was going through. That protector came out of him. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. And so he didn't get a chance to deal with his own feelings. So that was the hardest part, I think. And then after, when you have that court case and you have to go and sit before the person that caused harm to your loved one and then their family. And a lot of times, I've never been on that side of the fence, but that side of the fence makes this side of the fence feel like we did something wrong. And that's crazy. I haven't had that family reach out to me. Not to say that I would want them to, because I know me and I won't handle that well, but they never made any effort to, not through message, not through a pastor or anything. They try to make us feel like we did something to their loved one. And you know, so that's the crazy part of it. And then going through the process where you feel like not enough is done. The district attorney, they definitely did what they could do, but there is another person that's out there that was involved in my son's murder, and for whatever reason, he isn't being charged. So for me, and I guess for other families that don't get an opportunity to see their day in court, oh my God, you're dealing with the fact that this person is walking around, and you could possibly be seeing this person every day and not know that you're seeing them. So it's so many different things. It's so many different things. So, and this, you said years. You said so that it takes to even get to a place of dealing or healing. So would you say now you're at a place where you can definitely talk more about it and express yourself?
the healing? Are you now at a point where you're starting to feel healed, or that he's being vindicated?
I don't feel like he's been vindicated. As long as there's another person that's out there and they're not getting to that person and they have the proof that they need to arrest this person. I was told he was a CI, and I believe that that's one of the reasons why he isn't being arrested.
He's being protected.
He's being protected. So, but I don't feel really a sense of healing because I still hurt every night. I still go through it every night. I still wake up in the morning and, you know, look at his urn, and I still play the murder out in my head. And like I was saying before, I was telling you, the murder has a soundtrack in my head. It plays, it's like a little mini movie, and that sounds crazy, but it literally is a mini movie. So there are certain songs that I don't listen to because when those things happen and when I think about it, in the background of my head, I can hear these things. And so it sounds crazy, but yeah, it definitely takes me to
Well, it doesn't sound crazy to me. And although I haven't experienced it the way that you have, my compassion for it, my love for it, not just him, even just looking at how you're carrying it, how you still are taking care of your family, like all those things, it makes me humble and thankful. You know what I'm saying? That I can be a part of you going through it, even in small ways, because I couldn't have imagined it, but then even experiencing on this level,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Just looking at it, it's nothing that you ever want. I mean, on any level, for your friend, your family, someone that you don't care about to experience it, but to know that you didn't let it tear you or your family down. That now y'all have something not only for you, for him, and for the community. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it did that, but it didn't stop. You know what I'm saying? And it's that part. And it just makes it so important, and just so, you know, the position, just looking at it and looking at it evolve. I just can't, you know, I can't wait until it actually starts to heal, not just this family, because it will, because you're going to see all the families, and it's that part. All the mothers that are in the exact same position, and then those other loved ones that don't know how to get out of the position, that don't know how to release, that wouldn't even have a thought, because sometimes you're so caught up in your own that you can't even think of healing or making it possible for anyone else to heal.
Right.
You know, and it's how life allows you to just use your tragedy and use this as a platform for so much healing. Right. You know, so I you know, and I know sometimes you feel alone, and even though you're not alone, no one can carry your pain and your process, like the whole thing. It's going to be the rest of your life that you're going to be holding on to this legacy and this tragedy. So I don't have in my mind like, oh, a healing time for, oh, she healed this day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that stamp, but I do see a process, and I do see growth, and I do see, you know what I'm saying, different releases and maybe different levels of healing, but not just a complete, you know, because nothing is ever going to change that. So evolution of it, maybe growth of it, and saying, well, you know, we came from this point of pain to this point.
Right.
You know,
we're able to talk now.
Yeah, you're able to talk, you're able to share, and even reaching out, you know. So thank you, and thank you for sharing it. I know it brought tears to me, you know, to me and my family when we heard it. And if y'all have not had a chance, please go to the Julien Wyant Memorial Foundation.org and listen to the full effect, you know, not just what you think, exactly what happened, the details of what happened, the pain of what happened. Like, it wasn't just one life. This is generations. This is a whole family. You know, it doesn't just stop at that one moment. So, you know, if you have a chance, listen to it, understand, and then look at those that are going around it that's next to you, and see how you can be a help. See how you can reach out to someone and help them get to a healing or some resources, and find those connections, because it's definitely needed.
It is. I think for one of the things that I would like to see happen is to allow other people to heal, and that was one of the main purposes. For some reason, it gives me a sense of healing to know that I'm helping other people to get to closer to their healing. And that's what I would like to do. Outside of the things that the foundation does, the Voices of Victims is something that I just feel like gives people an opportunity to talk. There are people that never ever talk about it, and I'm one of the parents or one of the advocates on the Gun Violence Memorial page. It's gunviolencememorial.com, I believe. And so on there we see lots and lots of parents and lots of loved ones that have lost someone, and they are using that as a great platform to be able to talk to people that have gone through what you've gone through, to be able to see their loved ones. But you also see the day-to-day, the number of people that are killed every day, and oh my God, it is so crazy. It is hundreds and hundreds of people a day. It is thousands of people a month. The staff at Gun Violence Memorial alone, they have got to get to some sense of counseling probably by the time it's all over, because they're seeing so many people every day that have lost their lives. And ultimately, we would like to just all the gun violence to just stop. That's
from all the violence.
From overall, all the all the violence, not just the gun violence, just the killing, because there are so many different families that are affected by this, and it makes no sense. It's heart-wrenching to see those people, and then when you go into just the children, and you see the little children that have lost their life every day, it is just it's the worst thing you could ever imagine. So I know I'm not the only one that's going through this. I know there are other families that are going through it, and other families that need healing. So I don't focus on my healing. I'm focusing on trying to help other people get to their healing, and maybe I'll get my healing out of that. I think so. But I definitely think about Julien every day, and I know that when it's time for me that I'll get my healing.
I think you're gonna get the healing with knowing that his life helped so many people, that it'll give you a sense of peace, that to know that he made that difference, that his struggle made that difference, and I think that impact alone is going to speak volumes. So what is something, you said you think about him every day, what is the thing that you remember the most?
About him as a person?
Yes.
His smile. His smile was enormous. And I talk about his smile, but his smile was so big. And his smile was so big because his teeth were so big. And but he had the most beautiful smile. He would light up a room. He would make it so that, if you were going through something, when he came through the door, you see that smile. You wasn't worried about anything else that was going on.
He hugged everybody.
Yeah, he hugged everybody with that smile. And he was a hugger, physical hugger. He didn't care if he knew you or not. He would hug when he saw you. He would hug you if he was just meeting you for the first time. So he was an awesome kid, awesome, and
humble spirit.
I miss him, and I think about him every day, and I know his brothers and sisters too. Sister, they think about him too, and so we're getting better, definitely getting better, but just missing that smile coming through the door every day, and you good, Mom? Will you need anything? All of those things. Hearing his car pull up, I used to listen for his car after he passed all the time, because I wouldn't allow his car to come back to the house. And but I listened.
You wouldn't allow it?
No, I did not want anything to do with the car anymore. He was in, his murder started in the car. He was first shot in the back of the head in the car, and then he got out of the car and ran. So I didn't want the car. It had, when I did go see it, I did muster up the strength to go see it, and when I saw it, it had fingerprint dust completely on the entire car, so it was like it was black and dirty, and all the paperwork that he had in the car was tossed up, and but there was brain matter and different matter from him in the car. I didn't want the car anymore. It had bullet holes in the window where he'd shot and missed, and so I didn't want anything to do with the car. Even though we missed the car, there's one other car like that in our city. And so we see it, and when we see it, we definitely, I know me and my kids, we're looking, and we look around,
car was it?
It was a royal blue Chrysler 200 4-door. And so when we do see, but his was clean, it had rims on it, you know. But the other car that's in Conyers doesn't have rims on it. But when we see the car, we definitely, I mean, I probably have almost gotten into accidents, maybe three or four
Feel
times.
it in your heart, in your stomach, in the pit, like
that I see it. And,
yeah.
So it's hard. There are triggers, and that's one of the triggers. If I see that car, I like literally almost have to pull over, or I'll follow it, or you know. So it'll bring you to a point where you're not normal anymore. You know, you're following a car around, and he's not in that car. So
forever, just
always. It's bad, and it's hard, and so I know it's hard for my kids because it's just crazy for me. There are streets I don't go down. I don't go down this street that he was killed on. I don't go anywhere near it.
What street was it?
He was killed on, I believe it was the Enclave subdivision, so Orchard Cove, but it's off of Salem Road. Salem Road was one of the main roads that run in Covington, and so I don't go down that road. I went down it maybe twice since the murder, and the first time I went, every time I go, I tell people, you know, don't go. I can't go down this street, and the two times it's happened, they ended up driving down that street anyway, and it just, you know, kind of like putting an egg in a glass and shaking it up. That's how my insides felt, and just broke me in two. It breaks me in two every time, so I don't go that way at all. I can't go down the street because when I go down the street, I'm thinking, okay, there's the street that he was killed on, and then I just lose it. I get overcome with emotions. So I don't. That's the biggest trigger that I have. There's no need for me to go down that street. If there's something on that street that I need, I won't have it.
I went once. I didn't know exactly what. I couldn't remember the name of it because when you gave it to me, I just put it in the GPS and I went. I went once. I just wanted to see. You know, I just wanted to see the environment. You know, for me, that was where he took his last breath, and I wanted to see the scenery. I wanted to see where that was. You know, as part of, you know, everybody have their own healing and their own, you know, way of processing. And I'm one of those too. I do go to funerals and things like that. I like to lay eyes, you know, and really take in. Like, for me, if it's going to be my last time, let me take it in, you know, all of it. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's just you just process it in different ways, you know. But I know it's a final process, so even though I don't like it, it's difficult. You know, I have to prepare myself before I do certain things. You know, I think everybody has their way of dealing with tragedy. So, you know, mentally for me, I'm seeing myself do it and making sure that I know that this is something I have to do, even if I don't want to. I have to do this.
Yeah, I did do that.
You know, so, but just those things that people have to do to make it through, and letting them know that it's okay. You know, and giving anyone an outlet to know that you're not going to be the same. It's not something that anyone can necessarily prepare you for. But you're going to still have to be here. You're going to still have to process. You're going to still have to be able to go through and live some type of life and be a provider in different ways and all of that. So it's just that part of it, and given the steps, or at least taking it step by step. You know, even though we know it's going to hurt. You know. Right.
I did actually go to the crime scene. Maybe a week after. And I completely forgot that until you start talking about it. And I did go, and I laid on the ground where he was, and I took a picture there, and but I want to go and dig the dirt up. Every piece of dirt, I want to tear that whole part of the ground up. I don't think it should be there anymore, and I don't want it there anymore. I wanted to even go and dig up the dirt and bring some of it home. And but that's trespassing. And so something's moving in the kitchen on its own. You know. But I wanted to go and I wanted to dig up that dirt. And I want that dirt removed from there. And in my mind, I've been over there 100 times with a backhoe, and I have dug that ground up.
Okay, so that's not going to be a solution. Is there any alternatives? Maybe a plaque. Maybe if you could talk to that community and say, hey, you know, I would like to do this in honor of my child that lost his life here.
It's actually in an apartment complex. He was murdered inside on the property of an apartment complex. So they're not going to put anything there. Actually, there was another person that was killed there in that same complex. I don't know if it's the same area, but I think 3 months prior to his murder. And so it's something that they're not doing anything about. It's not a bad area. It's not a drug infested neighborhood. It's not a gang area. It's not any of that. And the rumor is that the same person that murdered my son is the same person that robbed and murdered the other person. So
really,
yeah. But you know, like I said, I did go and I know it's not going to solve anything. That's why I haven't went and done it. You know, otherwise I would have that dirt by now. But I think I probably will one day go over there and get some of the dirt. Just to have it. It's not going to give me any healing. It's not going to do anything for me, but it's the ground that my son took his last breath on. And so I think that kind of like having his ashes, that's where he took his last breath. And that's another reason why it's hard for me to go over in that area. That's a street where he took his last breath. It's less than 5 miles from here. So I'm just not comfortable with it. I don't want any of that area, no part of that area whatsoever. So I say that, and I feel like maybe that is something that I'll never get over. So if it comes to healing, I'll never get that healing. But I still would like to help other people get to their healing.
And you know, that's why I said I don't know about that part, because it's how you want it might not necessarily come to pass, because that's somebody else's property. But people do have a way of changing their position, you know. And I think with the right approach, maybe there could be something else. Even if it's not a specific memorial for him, maybe a memorial just because there has been more than one, and people need to be healed. This happened on your property, and some accountability, you know. And a lot of times, you know, with the right communication, things have a way of moving. God can do anything. Y'all know that I'm getting started on that. He moves, just like He's using you in His foundation. Yes. So, you know, there may be something to come out of it, but definitely the opportunity to grow and let His light and legacy shine. You know, I think that is the best thing that you could ever do in a situation like this, especially when there is little resources available and little help out there. You know, again, I don't see a lot of people that's actually offering long-term help. You know, a commitment to just being able to release and have an outlet. I don't see a lot of that. You know, so that type of and this is just the start. So if it starts here, you just can imagine how far it can go and how many different ways it can heal and how many different types of programs and benefits can come from it. So, you know, so I'm thankful. I think the foundation is going to do an awesome job with that.
Yeah. So if you would like to be a part of Voices of Victims, you can go to our website at the Julien Wyant Memorial Foundation.org and go to the section that says Voices of Victims. There is a form there that you can fill out that will come to us, and we will contact you back, and maybe you could be one of our episodes. But definitely, as she spoke earlier on episode 1, is about Julian, and it is me talking just about Julian in general and my loss in our family. And so we'll give you an idea of what our episodes are. Each episode will be about that family member, that lost loved one, and we will focus solely on that. We will talk to the surviving victim and get their take on the story and how they feel about what happened and how they're dealing with the pain and the healing, and maybe it will help them just a little bit.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and leave us a comment. Tell us what you want to hear, what your reactions to the foundation and any of the victims are, and if you are able to make any donations or help out in any way. Leave us a comment. Let us know what your answers are, and we thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
How long it take?
I hope it didn't